We have time for about 2 more questions.
Okay, yes, sir. With the glasses.
My question's for Tara. You ever feel kind of left out that you're in LA, everybody else is in Vancouver?
We're in LA.
Well, the other voice actresses, and you don't get to play off of them more directly.
You know, in terms of acting on a cartoon, I like to play off other actors, and that's really fun. But of course, I have 2 kids, and traveling back and forth to Vancouver would be too challenging. So it would be nice, but I don't feel like I miss out, and probably because of the character. She's so busy reading and researching and doing stuff, and then when she learns about friendship, often there'll be like a real lesson for me that day, and I'm actually quite like her in a lot of ways, and so the aloneness kind of works, and because she has a lot of sometimes dialogue-heavy stuff, it sometimes helps the sessions go quicker, because if Twilight's carrying the show, it'll go a lot quicker than having to wait for, you know, all of the other performances to be perfect, so I don't feel left out. But I do enjoy working with other actors.
Okay. Oh, we're going to play a little game. If this is the last question, you get to ask it, but then the audience gets to applaud or boo.
Love and tolerance.
And then we'll perhaps move on to another question. Yes, sir.
I don't know if I don't know if it's a question you can answer. But have the Brony fan base changed throughout the beginning of the show and today?
Yes, you're multiplying a lot, and you're verbal, and you're proud to come out and say I'm a Brony, and I watch this show and I love it. And I think for me, observing it online and on Twitter, I mean, for a voiceover performer to have 48,000 followers is because of you guys, and you're not afraid to say who you are. And so I've seen certainly a progression in the numbers and the people coming out and saying that they like it, and then of course all the art that everything inspires every single day. Every day there's something new.
Where are you from?
From Norway.
From Norway. And how many of you watch the show in Norway?
I think on the Facebook page that we have 600 likes. We have a group though that's like 60. I think that's the most active members. I think I just know 2 people, so...
And are you? Is there any chance of all of you getting together? I mean, some of you getting together a convention in Norway?
We've been thinking about it, but we haven't really made any plans yet. But there have been a lot of thinking, and you know, many of us do want to have a convention yet.
Okay. Another question, all the way in the back. All the way in the back. Nobody in the back? Yes. You have to be really loud.
Every fandom has like a dark side to it, and it has all the fan fiction and picture recycling strategies and cupcakes. And I was kind of wondering what your take on what all of you have take on that.
What's your take on the dark side?
You know, people have asked me.
Where?
Don't get on the internet.
Don't encourage it.
I've been asked that before, and I always point out that every fandom has that, and I don't think Bronies have it any more than any other fandom. You know, I mean, a lot of people, you know, there's people who are uncomfortable with the fandom and don't like the show or whatever, and they like to point to that and say that defines all of it, but it doesn't define it any more than there's a dark side to the Star Trek fandom. Nobody says that defines it. So for me, it's like tons of that stuff is out there. You just ignore it. I don't think it's any more. There's any more of it in the Brony fandom than there is in anything else.
Yeah, I can concur, because once I started twirling on Twitter and putting all my characters up and just searching my characters, every single character I've done since I was 13 is making out with someone. Every single one.
Yes, sir.
This is one for anybody or everybody who wants to take it. In working on the show, have you ever found yourselves sort of shifting back into the mindset of earlier projects, like, you know, while you're doing the voice of Twilight, you know, finding yourself channeling, you know, Bubbles or Raven or something like that?
No, I mean, once I create a character, that's where that character lives, and I often get asked if you mix characters up, and I just don't. That's part of my skill set. If someone says, "Can you do Timmy Turner on this show?" I say no, because he lives with the Fairly Odd Parents, and Bubbles is an entity in my head that lives in Townsville, and Twilight's hanging out in Ponyville or Equestria. So I don't mix them up, because once I create a character, they're an actual character that lives in my brain and comes out when it's time to do the show.
For me, I certainly do not look back to what I did before and say I'm going to do that again. However, I acknowledge that you can find similarities. You know, it's very easy to say Twilight is Blossom and Pinkie Pie is Bubbles. And I could sit here like a crazy person and point out all the differences or whatever. But I'm not directly trying to mimic past work. I acknowledge that there's similarities, but I feel like that's a stylistic thing. I think if you read, you know, books by the same author, you're going to find similar threads, similar styling, that sort of stuff. But I certainly don't do it on purpose, and if I notice it happening, I try to change it, with sometimes more success than other times.
I don't know if there's any way for me to say that. No, I don't, and yet at the same time you're going to say to me, oh, you know, Discord is Q, and that's just the way it is, no matter what. So I can tell you this much: I've done a couple of shows where I went for a long period of time. I mean, 20 episodes or whatever it was, and I was always amazed by the people who came in, and the director would go, you know, Bob, I want you to play, you know, this character, this character, this character, this character. I'm like, oh my God. And then I would see them moving like this, and then thank God they asked somebody over here. And I didn't want to be asked that thing, because I don't know how to do that. It is a skill set which is very particular, and you have to work at it. And I think you have to start out being good at it. And I just have my skill set, my single skill set perhaps. So I don't merge these things too much. All right, truly the last one. Okay, let's really have it. Yes.
Thank you. I want to ask this to Lauren. You grew up watching My Little Pony, and you bought the characters, and you basically made your own little world. Speaking with, you made your own little world. You saved up the biggest family. I want to ask how does it feel to come into the show where you wrote this pitch Bible? How does it feel? Because ever since you were growing up, you created this world. How does it feel to know that your old playthings while you were babysitting and working are now the voice of the show? How does it feel to change all that?
Amazing. It's a dream come true. I mean, there's no more way to describe it than that. It's more than a dream come true, because I don't think I ever dared to dream it really. You know, I worked all my career, and it was a goal of mine. My goal was always, I want to have my ideas available for people to see, whether that was a TV show or a book or drawings or any of that sort of thing. I wasn't sure, but to have this thing that I loved as a child be the thing that got that dream out there it's just amazing. And I can't say more than that. For the longest time, when the show was first taking off, actually when I was working on it before anybody even saw it, I used to joke and say that I wanted a time machine so I could go back, go talk to my 7-year-old self and go, guess what you're doing?
All right, thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Let me tell you how the signing is going to work. I'm going to have you line up on this side of the room, and you get a chance to have 3 signatures per guest, maximum.